Alright guys, this is Unit 8, Lesson 15. We're going to be learning about attributes of triangles. So, today we're just going to really focus on different types of triangles and how to draw them and their attributes. We'll use Venn diagrams to sort the triangles out according to their attributes. But this should be fairly easy for you guys. I'm sure you're used to seeing the shapes all the time. So let's get started. This is a little chart about triangles. So their sides. A scalene triangle has no congruent sides. So that means that there's no sides that are the exact same length, because that's what congruent means, same length. Isosceles triangles have two congruent sides. So that means that two of their sides will be the same length. Equilateral has three congruent sides. So all three sides of the triangle will be the same length. A right triangle has a right angle. Hopefully you remember a right angle is 90 degrees. An obtuse triangle has an angle larger than a right angle, so it would be larger than 90 degrees. And an acute triangle has all angles are acute, so they're all smaller than a right angle. Let's see. An equilateral triangle is also an isosceles triangle. If a triangle has three congruent sides, then it also has two congruent sides. For a triangle to be acute, all three angles must be acute. So every triangle has two acute angles. Acute means less than 90 degrees. And for a triangle to be obtuse, just one angle must be obtuse. So that means one of the angles has to be larger than 90 degrees. So let's get started. Okay, let's see. So for number 1, says in exercises 1 through 6, write true or false. If the statement is false, sketch a counterexample. So for number 1, all isosceles triangles are also equilaterals. That, my friends, is false. So we're going to write false. You can write the whole word out. And then it says to sketch a counterexample. So let's sketch. Don't mind my really bad drawing again. So we're just going to draw one like this. Just a regular old triangle. And let's see. We have two congruent sides. You only need two congruent sides for an isosceles triangle. So an equilateral has three congruent sides that are the exact same length. So this is false. Okay, let's move on to number 2. A scalene triangle cannot have a line of symmetry. That is true because there can be no congruent sides. So let's move on to number 3. All right angles have two acute angles. That is also true. Okay, that was easy. So number 4, any triangle with an obtuse angle must be a scalene. So let's see, an obtuse angle is an angle larger than a right angle, which is 90 degrees, and a scalene triangle has no congruent sides. So that is false. Let's draw a little triangle that proves that that's false. So we will draw a really long bottom and pretend that my lines are straight. Thanks, kids. Oh, yep, just pretend that's a straight line. Sorry guys, it's really hard writing on this thing. So just ignore that part. And let's see. We have, if I drew it correctly, these would be two congruent sides, and there we go. Alright, so moving on to number 5. All equilateral triangles are acute. That is true. Yay. So then number 6, a scalene triangle cannot have a right angle. A scalene triangle has no congruent sides, so that is false. Let's prove why it's false. Okay, there's one line. There's the other. Just pretend those meet in the middle. And then this will be a 90-degree angle. And that little line right there just signifies that that's a 90-degree angle. This angle right here where these two lines meet. Okay, So let's move on to 7. It says, sketch a shape that fits the description if possible. So, an isosceles triangle with a right angle. An isosceles triangle has two congruent sides, and we need a right angle, which is the 90 degrees. So let's see if we can sketch this out. Let's do a line right here. Let's make our right angle first. Okay, so there's a right angle right here. And then we have two congruent sides. Yay! So there we go. Okay, so for number 8, a triangle with two right angles. So a triangle with two right angles. A triangle with two 90-degree angles. I don't think that that's possible. So we'll write not. Oh my goodness, you guys. You know that that means not. This is really hard to write with. Possible. Just, finish writing the word out. Possible. Possible. Thanks, guys. Okay, so then for a triangle with more than one line of symmetry. Ooh, okay. So I'm just going to draw it right here because I don't have any more space. So we'll just draw it. Let's see. And if my triangle had all exact lines, this is where a ruler is going to come in, or I mean a straight edge, not a ruler, is going to come in really helpful when you guys are trying to do this homework. It would be nice to see that you guys, got a straight line out or straight edge out and really focused on making these triangles look nice. So these dashed lines just signify that those are lines of symmetry. So if I folded this triangle on the dashed line and the triangle was actually made with a straight edge and whatnot, then there would be equal parts on both sides. So if I folded it down the middle right here, there would be an equal amount on this side than on this side. Or if I folded it right here, this side and this side, yada yada. Okay, so for number 10, an isosceles triangle without a line of symmetry. And that also, my friends, is not possible. Not possible. So finish writing out the word for me on your SAB, and then we will move on to the next activity. Oh, okay. So let's see. Let's just move on. Okay. So triangle cards. Oh, these are triangle cards, and let's see. What are you guys doing with these? You're going to use them to classify triangles. So I won't be able to have this up the whole time, but you guys will have it in your SAB. So look at it. Okay, classify triangles. In 815, classify triangles. Write the letters of the shapes from triangles A through L in the correct region of each diagram. So you're going to use that triangle sheet I just had up, and we're going to use these little compare contrast charts to compare and contrast some triangles. So we're gonna compare right angles excuse me, right triangles with isosceles triangles. So remember, a right triangle has a right angle, which is 90 degrees. An isosceles triangle has two congruent sides. So if I had a picture of the shapes, we would say that, so let's see, B would go on this side, I would go on this side, the triangle L has both of these attributes. Then on our isosceles we have G, A, H, C, E, and J. Okay, and then on the outer edge, we also have triangle D because it doesn't fit into either of these two areas, and F, and K. All right, so let's move on to number 12. So for triangles, we have acute and equilateral. Remember, acute are where the triangle, all of its angles are acute, so they're smaller than a right angle, smaller than 90 degrees, and equilateral has 3 congruent sides. So for the acute, we have G, D, and E. And it doesn't seem like we have any equilaterals, so for our common ones, we have C and J. Well, we don't have any that are just equilateral. So on the outside, we're going to write A, triangle A, triangle B, triangle H, and triangle F. Out here, triangle K. I wish I could see these triangles. I hope you guys are looking at them while you're referencing them while we're doing this. And I. Okay, so then we're going to move on to 13. Triangles, so obtuse and scalene. So remember, obtuse has an angle larger than a 90-degree angle, and scalene has no congruent sides, so none the same length. So let's just fill these in real quick. A, H, F, in the middle, F triangle and K triangle have both of these similar attributes. And then just for scalene, we have triangle B, triangle D, triangle I. And then on the outer rim, we're going to write triangle C, triangle G, and then we'll do E, L, and J. Oh, poor triangles. Okay, so, yeah, I think that's it. And get started on your homework and remembering, and I will see you later.